Hi, in this video, we will solve the fourth complete comprehensive example. Let's go to the example sum. Example sum given below is the receipts and payments account of Mayur Club for the year ended 31st March 2019. To the left of the screen, the receipts and payments account is given. On the right, additional information. We are asked to prepare the club's income and expenditure account for the year ended 31st March 2019 and the balance sheet as at that date after taking the following information into account. The first point, there are 500 members, each paying an annual subscription of Rs 500. Rs 5,000 are still in arrears for the year ended 31st March 2018. Second point, municipal taxes amounted to Rs 4,000 per year is paid up to 30th June. Prepaid municipal taxes in the beginning of the year were Rs 1,000 and Rs 5,000 are outstanding for salaries. Third point, building stands in the books at Rs 5 lakh. Final point, 6% interest has accrued on investments for 5 months. So we'll begin with the opening balance sheet as part of working note. Working note. Balance sheet as at 1st April 2018. Liabilities rupees, assets rupees. We'll begin with the additional information. The first point says there are 500 members, each paying an annual subscription of Rs 500. So the amount of 500 into 500 is income from subscriptions to be credited to the income and expenditure account. It's also said that Rs 5,000 are still in arrears for the year ended 31st March 2018. So at the end of the current year, we have Rs 5,000 pertaining to the previous year still outstanding. Now if we see here in the receipt side, pertaining to the previous year, we've received subscriptions of Rs 4,000 in the current year. And it's saying that at the end of the current year, 5,000 rupees pertaining to the previous year is also still outstanding. So at the beginning of the current accounting period, the total amount outstanding or due from subscriptions in the previous year should have been 5,000 plus the 4,000 rupees, which is 9,000 rupees. Outstanding subscription is an asset. I will show it in the asset side of the opening balance sheet. Outstanding subscription. ₹4,000 which was received in the current year pertaining to the previous year, and plus 5,000 rupees which is still outstanding pertaining to the previous year at the end of the current year. Total amount outstanding 9,000 rupees. The next point, municipal taxes amounted to Rs 4,000 per year is paid up to 30th June. Prepaid municipal taxes in the beginning of the year was Rs 1,000. So prepaid expense in the beginning of the year Rs 1,000, asset prepaid municipal taxes Rs 1,000. Third point, building stands in the books at Rs 5 lakh. So building is an asset, 5 lakh rupees. The fourth point says 6% interest has accrued on investments for 5 months. So they are talking about the investments which we made in the current accounting period. So we need to accrue interest for 5 months. So that will affect the closing balance sheet. We've completed the additional information. We'll check out the receipts and payments account. The first item, cash in hand at the beginning of the year, is 1,02,500. Cash in hand is 1,02,500 rupees. There are no other items on the receipt side, nor are there any items on the payment side. We'll balance the opening balance sheet and find out the amount of the opening capital fund. The amount of opening capital fund, balancing figure, 6,12,500 rupees. Solution. Income and expenditure account. For the year ended 31st March 2019. Left side debit, right side credit. Expenditure, rupees. Income, rupees. We'll complete the subscription account as well as the municipal taxes account from the working notes. We'll begin with the subscriptions account. We've already found out that the opening outstanding subscription was 9,000 rupees, 4,000 plus 5,000 rupees. The total amount of subscriptions received in the current year from the receipt side, the total amount 2,15,000 rupees. The amount to be taken to the income and expenditure account is 500 members each paying an annual subscription of rupees 500. So it's 500 members multiplied by rupees 500 each. Comes up to 2,50,000 rupees. From the receipt side, we understand that in the current year, we've received subscriptions pertaining to the subsequent year. So closing subscription received in advance to balance carried down 6,000 rupees. The balancing figure is the closing outstanding subscription. Out of the total, we know that 5,000 pertains to the previous year. So on totaling, we get subscription debit side total as 2,65,000. And the balancing figure is, after subtracting 2,15,000, we get 50,000 rupees as the closing outstanding subscription. 5,000 of this relates to the previous year. So the amount pertaining to the current year is 45,000 rupees. The amount to be taken to the income and expenditure account is 2,50,000 rupees, and this amount of 50,000 rupees needs to be taken to the asset side of the closing balance sheet. We'll move on to the municipal taxes account. It says prepaid municipal taxes in the beginning of the year was rupees 1,000. Prepaid municipal tax is an asset to balance brought down 1,000 rupees. The amount which is paid in the current year is rupees 4,000 to bank account 4,000 rupees. Also, it says it's paid up to 30th June in the current year. So 3 months extra was paid. So 4,000 rupees is the tax for 12 months. For 3 months, the amount of tax is 4,000 into 3 by 12, or in other words 1,000 rupees. So the closing prepaid municipal taxes, since it's paid for 3 months extra, by balance carried down is 1,000 rupees. And the amount to be taken to the expenditure side of the income and expenditure account is 4,000 rupees. Next, let's calculate the interest which is accrued on the investments. Interest accrued on investments for 5 months. The amount of investments made in the current accounting period is 2 lakh rupees. The rate of interest is 6%, and we need to accrue it for 5 months. So we get the amount of accrued interest as rupees 5,000. So we'll insert these amounts in the income and expenditure account. By subscription, that was 500 multiplied by 500, which was 2,50,000 rupees. To municipal taxes, as per the working note, the amount that was to be taken to the expenditure side was 4,000 rupees. And the amount of interest accrued on investment by accrued interest was 5,000 rupees. We need to prepare the salaries account also, because it says here 5,000 are outstanding of salaries. So let's prepare the salaries account. Closing outstanding amount for salaries 5,000 rupees. To balance carried down is 5,000 rupees. The amount paid in the current accounting period to bank account 60,000 rupees, and therefore the amount to be taken to the expenditure side of the income and expenditure account 65,000 rupees. to salaries 65,000 rupees. We'll move on to the other items in the receipts and payments account. Donations is 54,000 rupees. Buy proceeds of drama tickets 95,000 rupees. Buy sale of waste paper 4,500 rupees. We'll move on to the payment side. 2 expenses 7,500 rupees. 2 drama expenses 45,000 rupees. 2 newspapers 15,000 rupees. The municipal taxes is done. 2 charity 35,000 rupees. The investment is a capital expenditure. 2 electricity charges 14,500 rupees. The items are done in the income and expenditure account. We will balance it. We'll total up the income side first. The credit side totals to 4,08,500. And the debit side totals to 1,86,000 rupees. The greater total is 4,08,500. To surplus, the balancing figure 4,08,500 minus 1,86,000 rupees. Two lakh 22,500 rupees. So this is the surplus in the income and expenditure account. Balance sheet as at 31st March 2019. On the left side, liabilities, and on the right, assets. From the subscription account, we find out that the closing outstanding subscription to be taken to the closing balance sheet 50,000 rupees. Outstanding subscriptions 50,000 rupees. The prepaid municipal taxes, again we found out that at the end of the accounting period, rupees 1000 has to be taken to the closing balance sheet asset side because it's prepaid municipal tax at the end of the accounting period. Prepaid municipal taxes, 1000 rupees. It says rupees 5000 are still outstanding of salaries. So that's a liability. Outstanding salaries, rupees 5000. Building stands in the book at rupees 5 lakh. There is no purchase or sale of building, so the amount remains the same at the end of the year. Building 5 lakh rupees. The fourth point is the 6% interest that is accrued on investment. We understood that it was 5000 rupees. We'll write both the investment as well as the accrued interest. Investment amount, we've made an investment this year of rupees 2 lakh. And the accrued interest on investment, ₹5,000. Let's move on to the receipts and payments account. In the subscription, in the current year, we've received 6,000 rupees advance for the subsequent year. So that's a liability. Subscription received in advance, 6,000 rupees. No other item from the receipt side. On the payment side, only the last item, which is the cash in hand at the end of the year, is remaining, 90,000 rupees. We'll insert the opening capital fund and add the surplus amount. Opening, add surplus. So the amount of the opening capital fund was 6,12,500. $6,12,500 opening capital fund, and the surplus from the income and expenditure account, we arrived at a surplus of 2,22,500 rupees. The amount to be taken to the outer column, 8,35,000 rupees. Let's check if the balance sheet tallies. The liability side totals to 8,46,000 rupees. The asset side also totals to 8,46,000 rupees. So the solution is done. We'll view the answer. So that's a question on top. This is the opening balance sheet where we arrived at the opening capital fund as 6,12,500. income and expenditure account, where we arrived at the surplus as 2,22,500 rupees. And the closing balance sheet, where the asset side tallied with the liability side with 8,46,000 rupees. The working notes, subscription, municipal taxes, interest accrued calculation, and working note for salaries.